Back again. A little bit of time off. Kind of had to. I'll show you in a minute. I had a positive accident with an answered prayer. And a lesson learnt. What do I mean by that? A positive accident. We'll start off with the lighter side of that, will we? Let's just say that, was it Mr. Mackey or Mr. Garrison type South Park guy? If he was your home economics teacher. As we all know, oil floats on water, okay? Now if you mix hot, boiling, cooking water with cooking oil with water, you're going to have a bad time, okay? Where are we? Yeah, I had a real bad time. Bloody shocking. Where's the camera? There it is. A shocker. That's not a bad time. But it was a positive accident. I'm a firm believer you've got to try and find the positive in something, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's really, really hard to see. Usually because you're getting in your own way of seeing it. Maybe it's because you don't want to admit something to yourself. I've been skedoodling along a bit lately. Now, I bumped into the bloke that tried to kill me with a hammer the other week. And my thoughts were not good. At all. I clearly have not forgiven that man. I don't know if I can. I'll try. He didn't know any better. And I firmly believe that he was acting on somebody else's behalf. And he was rewarded for it. By buying the workshop that I had, that he entered to take to me with a hammer in when he got out of jail. I was standing in the way of some stuff by having a business there. Somebody wanted to buy that property. They couldn't do with it what they wanted, I don't think. With me there, the only other option was to invest money in my business and do whatever. And I refused to let anyone buy into my business. The same bloke that took me with a hammer offered me $150,000 before he took me with a hammer and accused me of breaking into his workshop. That's why I never believed that anyone broke into his workshop. It goes a bit deeper than that. That's all I'll say on that. But yeah, my heart hasn't been in the right place. My mind has been in some bad places as well. That's my bizzo. That's between me and the Most High. But I took this as a positive lesson, a positive thing. Why? Let's just say it was a discipline. You're skating on thin ice, boy. And that ice is melting because it's directly above the fires of hell. You're standing on it. Which suggests to me I've been doing something semi-right as well. I'm not condemned to hell yet, am I? But I'm close to it. Anyway, I was also given something. I believe this so deeply. And if you was there, you'd believe it too. Of course, I went to hospital. 2nd degree burns to 5% of my body. I was in excruciating pain. I mean, I've never felt anything like it. Hitting the head with a 8-pound engineer's square-headed hammer was nothing. Walk in the park compared to this. Every pain I've ever had. Everything. I've had swine flu, for Christ's sake. or equivalent to, which I caught out of a septic tank in Georgetown when I was little. Now, coming back to that, it was always Nan that fixed me when I was sick, when something was really wrong, even when doctors couldn't figure things out. A lot of my sickness, I think, well, I believe, was due to stress in an unloving home. My mum and dad that just fought and fought and fought like cat and dog all day, all night. I just got sick of it. It made me sick. And Nan could fix me. This is Mum's mum. She's passed now. I know she did nurse work during the World War II era. Never spoke of it. But later on in life, as her mind started to go, I believe a lot of it, her mind started to go because she had memories that she didn't want. Too painful. I can only imagine, because like I said, she never spoke of it, but I feel like she's comforted men to their death as they passed, and she's nursed men with legs blown off. I've never been told it, but I firmly believe that that's what's happened. Looking back on it, it's picture tells a million stories, doesn't it? 1,000 words. Now I was in there. You believe me or not, I don't really care, but if you was there, you would. Burnie Hospital, I had nothing but horror. I've been there a few times. I have nothing but bad to say about the place. It's a fucking joke. It's a shithole. It's torture. I have nothing but horror stories about that place. It's just a meat works. Full of foreigners that don't speak English well enough to actually do the job properly. Doctors that tell you what your symptoms are. Arrogant pricks. And pretty much, I don't know if it's like it everywhere, but I found here in Tasmania, especially here in Burnie, doctors will not help you if you have anything on your medical record that suggests you may have been a drug user or you have scars on your arms. They will not give you pain relief. They disobey the Hippocratic Oath. They go completely against it out of prejudice. But I had these two nurses, first time ever in my history of dealing with Tasmanian medicine, because let's not call it a health service, it's not. It's about medicine. It's about big pharma, it's about money. There's no money in well people, is there? But these two nurses, I haven't come across one this night. Tuesday night I come across two Australian, first time I dealt with actual Australians in there. Two nurses, Australian as young girls, ladies, I'm not sure of their age, but I don't know if it's just me being polite or I'm going to say they was in their 20s, they weren't very old. And genuinely cared about someone they didn't even know that they knew I had a past. I wasn't shy to admit it. I never am. You don't have to condemn me. I beat myself up enough, right? I was weeping like a child. The pain, honestly. I've got my own fat congealed on the outside of my leg. I crystallised. I cooked myself with cooking oil. I tipped a pot that was smoking out the back, not realising that right next to where I tipped it, there was a little puddle of water from where my son had cleaned out the cat litter tray, and I didn't see it because of the grass growing up through it. It was right between my legs, and as soon as the oil hit it, it volcanoed up my leg. That was not good. As soon as I came inside, I put my legs under the shower, skin just started peeling off me. Blisters exploding. I prayed to God that night. I prayed to Jesus. I said, I need Nan right now. Every time I try to do this, I start crying a bit. Sorry. Now, These nurses didn't leave my side. They didn't think it was funny that I was praying. I thought I was being a bit of a sook, and they said, nah, this is brave as. Most people with something like this would be in here screaming their head off. And I was just weeping quietly like a child and praying. They had to knock off, and I was left with this Paki, Indian, whatever he was, probably Hindu or Muslim or something. That was the doctor, the male nurse I was left with. You could tell he was embarrassed and going through extreme anxiety because he had no idea what I was trying to ask of him, because they'd lost my bag with my wallet with $1,000 in it and blah blah blah. It turned out they'd been driving around all over Burnie in the fucking ambulance. And it was not long before close of business for Burnie Wynyard Taxi Service that they announced to me that I wasn't going to be staying the night. Just another torture for me. Doesn't matter what's wrong with me, they won't let me stay the night. Prejudiced pricks up there. And he was clearly embarrassed. Now, the very second that these two nurses had to knock up and leave me, and they didn't want to leave me, they were holding my hand and everything while I was crying. One stayed like an extra 10 minutes and she said, oh, I've got to go, I'll get in trouble. Like, the very second she walked away from me, my pain was gone like that. Like, I didn't have care anymore. As soon as I had no care, I had care. Well, it didn't dim down, it didn't slow down, it was like someone just flicked it off. I had no pain. Look out, puss, don't brush up against my legs. I've got a bit now, but it's tolerable. There's no other way I can explain that other than, like I said, I miss you, man. Anyway, that's enough of that. Now, hang on, puss. Ooh, that rattles me. Now, yeah, look, you're not going to convince me that there's no God, there's no... Just come on. At this point... Yeah. At this point, there's no way you can't. And anyone that is denying it, they're denying it for a reason, I believe. Like I used to. Because it enables you to escape from admitting your sins, doesn't it? You know, so many people go to so many so-called enlightened higher states of spiritualism and spirituality and worship idols like crystals and rocks and fucking triangles and little green rectangles. I'm talking about Freemasons there, they love their triangles and their money, don't they? Little green rectangles. Which brings me into my next segment. I've written some stuff down because I'm a bit floundery at the moment. How the government created... Hang on, eyeballs. How the government created the drug market of today by legislating botanists of God's herb into felons and helped big pharma lobbyists corner the market so they could create a new tax revenue and stoner register with the devil's lettuce. Okay, let's pick that apart, will we? Create a new drug market today, legislating botanists of God's herb into felons. Okay. Back in the day, people that liked a bit of hooch, a bit of pot, and it was still the ridgy-dig thing, you know, the way God intended it. They'd grow a bit and recover a bit of their cot. They didn't even really profited any money out of it. It wasn't so much as that they were a drug dealer. They weren't. If anything, they stopped the drug market. They stopped the drug cartel system, the whole trafficking, the whole pot for profit racket that we have today, whether it be legal or illegal. What they had was lawful, It was made illegal, but it was still lawful. Because, like, look, God's law is law. The 10 Commandments, the Golden Rule. That's it. That's the law for us to be able to live with social cohesion. For us to, if you stick to that, if we just stuck to that, it covers everything. And still to this day, it covers everything. It covers traffic rules. It covers everything. There's no revenue in that, is there? That's all. Call me what you want. Don't care. Think what you want of me. I don't give a shit. I really don't. Couldn't care less what you think of me. Never really have. I'm never going to. I appreciate people that appreciate. I respect people that respect. But I don't care what you think of me. Now, no one was getting ripped off. I remember I used to be able to go, he was an older fella than me. I'm not going to name names or even say exactly where. There was someone out Moriarty. And I'll say he was nicknamed after a poultry. I'll leave it at that. I used to get an ounce of killer bud off him for like $50, and then his mate said that's what we got. It just covered his cost of growing it and a bit of his time. It was just the natural old stuff growing outside with a bit of farm phosphate manure and stuff for fertiliser and compost. And it was a real McCoy, you know. It didn't turn you into a couch potato or a zombie. It didn't make it brain dead. It didn't knock you out to sleep. It was something you could go fishing or go play around the golf and smoke a joint. It functioned perfect. It was still, if anything, it was probably a positive thing. Fast forward to today. In the war on drugs, in the name of revenue, they make it all that shit illegal, and they class it as a class 1 narcotic. Fuck off. Class 1 narcotic. No, it's up there with ice. How the hell is pot up there with ice when you can go and buy it with the doctor's a licence to buy it, a permit to buy it off a licensed dealer, the big farmer, the chemist, and it's not pot anymore. It ain't pot. But by doing that, so many people are now on a register. The government knows everyone on that register, everyone that's got pharmaceutical marijuana. Don't ever expect to get a firearms licence. You won't get one. There are so many things in the future you're not going to be able to do because you've now got yourself on a register. Congratulations, fools. Everything they do, think about this, everything they do that requires a licence or a ticket or something, or a permit, goes to a register. Because I've been a registered firearms owner, every little thing I ever do ends up with me having to write letters and jump through hoops to get my fucking stuff back. My stuff I own, my firearms licence. I've never done anything with a firearm I shouldn't. I've no interest in that. But life's precious. All life is precious, even the people that I don't like. Even David Miller, your life is precious. I'm finding it hard to forgive you. You tried to kill me with a hammer, mate. For something I didn't do, and I think there's more to it. But your life's as precious as anybody's. Perhaps you'll see the way one day, and maybe you've got an important job to do. Who knows? Well, I think we all have an important job to do. We can either ignore it or admit it, and let that job approach you. It'll present itself. I think I'm stumbling across mine now. But yeah, you're all on a register. When AI takes over, including you police, AI's taking your jobs. There won't be many actual humans in the police sector. AI's going to take over the courts. They've already admitted this. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Their conspiracy, they've all got together and conspired a way rounding up us useless eaters and letting us phase ourselves out and destroy each other. The coming war, what do you think that's about? They don't have to commit murder if they can trick us into murdering one another. It's not a theory. I've even had a Freemason who reckons he's not a Freemason. He's got the tattoo of the triangle with the eye in it and everything on his forearm. Who's been dealing with a local here around here. These two people you wouldn't imagine to see together. I'm not going to name names, but you wouldn't imagine to see them together. How do I go about this? I'll come back to that. So yeah, all the people that were just growing a bit of God's herb, they're all criminals now, because the government said, and the police busting people for dealing pot. Okay, look, because you've made it illegal and this and that, you've made a lucrative market out of it. Anything that's illegal is worth a lot more money than what it was before it was illegal, because it's harder to get, harder to transport or traffic, because of the war on drugs. I would call that a war on mental health, a war against the people who have mental health problems, not a war on drugs. People have found something that for a period improved their life. Now, a lot of these things don't stay that way. And a big part of why it doesn't stay that way is because they end up in trouble with the government, the police. Because the police are just doing their jobs, following orders. Been doing that for 3 generations now, and now they think that that's the law. They think they are the law. You're not the law, guys. You couldn't be further removed from it. You're creating criminals at the stroke of a pen. People that have done nothing wrong today are criminals tomorrow, and they still haven't done anything wrong. But it's okay for the government to find a way for Big Pharma to sell it. They grow it, they tweak it, they fuck around with it. It's genetically modified, the DNA twisted and changed. And now people are paying through the nose at the chemist for medicinal marijuana that farmers are getting a shitload of money from the government to grow. A shitload of money. And they haven't even got a clue what's being done to it. They're given the seed, they grow it, gets harvested, off it goes. They haven't got a clue what's being done to it. Farmers, you're growing poison, okay? You're growing shit. You're growing bad stuff. It's not pot. It's been fucked with. It's been fucked with. Now, I'll put it this way. Would you grow broccoli for Simplot if you knew that it was making people hallucinate and have bad thoughts, suicidal tendencies? Would you? If it was making them physically sick, worse mentally? Well, they fucked around and figured out which strain of broccoli that person needs to be able to be brain dead and not a threat to himself or anybody else. Which means he's not functioning in society, he's avoiding society. He's sitting at home on the couch. All you're doing is numbing people. You may as well still be giving them Oxycontin and keeping them comfortably numb. And listen to the song by Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb. And like really listen to it. And you tell me that that's not Big Pharma, not what your doctor and your chemist is still doing to you. They're still doing it to you. Keeping you comfortably numb. For what? tax revenue and control. It's another tax revenue for the government. In licensing, in the sale of it, they get their cut, the doctor gets their cut, the chemist gets their cut, and Big Pharma gets, everyone's getting a cut. And what are you doing? Don't give a fuck, do you? Because you're sitting at home stoned and you can't scratch yourself. So that's what that market's all about. It gave rise to other drugs too, didn't it? Well, them drugs are too hard to grow and hide. It's a bit of an operation, isn't it? Oh, but alcohol's illegal. Alcohol's fine. You can have alcohol. You know, the people that tell you can have alcohol and can't have pot are probably... They're pardoning fucking cocaine dealers. Donald Trump just pardoned the biggest cocaine fucking trafficker in the world. Honduras, fucking the president of Honduras. It's about time everyone woke up, come on. The people that are passing legislation that you can't have pot, but you can be a home-wrecking fucking alcoholic that wrecks your own families, who's doing lines of cocaine. They're hypocrites and they're liars and they're scum. And yet you still vote for these people. Freemasons are good people, are they? Let's just say I happen to know that there's a shipment coming from Melbourne, probably today, with the dude from Melbourne. I was asked if I want any. So, obviously that's a supplier, isn't it? Not just a dealer, not a low hanging fruit dealer, it's a supplier. I bet you they get here and back with no fucking dramas. Right? Well, Hendo from Adelaide. There's another one. You can't right or wrong. You can only correct what's incorrect. You can tell this to people as much as you like. They still refuse to be corrected on anything. They're willfully ignorant. They're arrogant. They don't actually learn anything. They think they're intelligent because they believe what their peers taught them. They believe whatever they're told by their next level up Freemason or their father or their indoctrination facility, school. And that's the gospel truth to them. But there's no God. No one created. They're here all on accident. This is all an accident. We're here because science says so, that it's an accident. Okay, well science requires that first miracle. The Big Bang. Explain how the Big Bang happened. Nobody can explain really in any coherent way that makes any sense how the Big Bang happened. A Big Bang sounds like a sound, a noise, a vibration, a frequency, doesn't it? Could that have been when everything was spoken into existence? But anyway, if something is wrong's wrong, you can't make it right because it's wrong. You have to discard it. You've got to get rid of it. It's wrong. It can't be made right because it was already made wrong. But if it's incorrect, it can be corrected. You see how wrong and right are two completely different words? But you can change your mind on things. You can admit to yourself that maybe you wasn't correct on something. So you change your way of thinking and become correct. That's how I live my beliefs and my thoughts. And I went to a Catholic primary school, convent, full-on private Catholic convent primary schools, to public high schools. I moved around a lot. I was out of home at 16. And I've come full circle more than once. And I'm stuck in this, but I'm stuck at this spot now because I cannot, for the life of me, swallow that there is no God. I cannot for the life of me swallow that evolution is a thing, the theory of evolution is a thing. It's still only a bloody theory, isn't it? Darwinism gets proven wrong every day. It's just wrong. It can't be corrected because it was wrong. It was literature that was given to us for a reason. So we would throw God out of our lives, throw Christ, Jesus' teachings, throw it out of schools. You can have religion, but you can't have Christ. You can't have Jesus, but you can have religion. You can be a Muslim, Islam, Hindu, Buddhist, anything you like. But as soon as you talk about Christ, you're shut down, booed, hissed, ridiculed, ignored. Why do you think they've taken the King James Bible and our lawful constitution out of everything? Because then they don't have to swear any lawful oaths of office, which invoke having to live by Christ's laws. That's why. They think they can cheat. They think that they found the cheat codes for the system, you know. There's no point trying to tell them that. You know, it makes them money. They get paid money. They get little brown paper bags. Or they get compromised with a honeypot. Got caught with their finger in a young girl or their doodle in a young boy's mouth. And there's a photo of it or video footage of it. It happens way more than you think. Locally. Trust me. What do you think Conzi's club's got going up there in the hotel rooms? He's got trannies and all there. He can trap people in some very embarrassing situations. What purpose do you think Safe Space serves? I've heard stories of Aaron Bremner and that little blonde-headed gremlin that gets around town getting paid to devalue properties and then piss off to Launceston for a few weeks with the money. Why do you think it's so fucked up? His name Aaron Brennan, yeah, Aaron Brennan and that blonde-headed gremlin, the one that was following the schoolgirls around waving his cock at them. They get looked after so well by City Mission. Everything has a reason, it has a purpose. Everything that's happening that is bad, that is negative, that is having let's say, not a very positive effect on our communities and on our society, is being used, believe me, for a benefit of not us. What do you think the cops are say fucking off their head? They haven't got a clue. Because of blanket legislation that they believe to be law. It's not, it's legislature. They allow a small handful of people to drag the society down with them. If you notice, it's not just here or it's not just here and there. It's fucking everywhere. It's everywhere. They seem to move people around into cities where they're not from. We've got all these people from Launceston. I don't know how many people from Hobart are in Launceston. How many people from Queenstown are in Hobart? People that don't mix with their communities. They've got no one to go to outside of the shelter. No one to keep them out of trouble. No one to put them on the straight and narrow. They're just in everyone's face all the time. They're only allowed in the shelter at night time or whatever, like, you know. If they're not there by a certain time, they're not allowed in. They give them plenty enough time to go out and get off their face so they don't have to let them in for the night because they're drunk. Isn't it funny that a Freemason is running Safe Space? Isn't it funny that most station sergeants are Freemasons? You don't have to believe me. Isn't it funny how in our judicial system we have lawyers, liars, who are supposed to be there to stand up for you to balance the scales of justice, to ensure that an injustice isn't served upon you. But they will lie for you when you're guilty as fucking sin. And they'll do this shit. They'll look at the prosecutor and do this shit and then talk to the judge and then talk back to the prosecutor, and then when you leave the courtroom after entering a plea of not guilty or getting an adjournment, the lawyer needs to catch up with you in a conference room outside of the courtroom, but still there. He's got a deal on the table, and you should take it. Otherwise, you'll probably go to jail. It's a plea deal where they drop all the big charges and you only have to plead guilty to a couple of the lesser charges. It'll keep you out of jail. Prosecutor gets a plea deal. To him, it's a win. The lawyer gets a plea deal. To him, it's a win. They scratch each other's back. They took the authority out of the courtroom and away from the magistrate. And you've offered into a plea deal. You've gone into that for your own selfish fucking saving your own ass. Making the problem grow organically. Now everyone's getting plea deals. Everywhere. All the time. And everyone's pointing the fingers at the magistrate. Sorry, but the magistrate's got no say in it. You just accepted a plea deal outside of the courtroom. All they can do is sign off on it because the prosecutor's happy with the charges that are laid against you. Yeah, I'm happy with that outcome. The prosecutor is the plaintiff for the people. But he's not exactly doing the people's will, is he? He's not executing the law to its fullest extent. He's not even executing law. He's doing fucking deals. Quite often, these deals are discussed at the lodge on a Friday night over a few fucking shenanigans. How do I know that? Greg Richardson told me. Everyone knows who Greg Richardson is. I don't get my information from nobodies. I get it from people, reputable people. So, all I can say is, especially after the other night, which was extremely humbling to me. There's no other the way it all happened. There's definitely there was some intervention there. I asked God. I said, "Well, I need Nan now, please. Just give me Nan tonight." Because Nan always made me feel better. And the second those two nurses walked out, my pain was just gone, completely gone. I was able to take up my argument I needed to find my bag full of stuff, had my clothes, my Bible, my wallet, my prescription glasses, everything in it. The ambulances were just hell-bent. the the ambulance triage lady, hell bent on arguing with me about the whole time she was here. She was good at her job, wouldn't let me talk to the kids at all. Calm down, she kept saying. I was calm. I was in a lot of pain, but I was calm. Kept dosing me up on fentanyl. I asked for the whistle because I didn't want morphine or fentanyl. They just make me feel sick for days. I'm still coming good from it. All because why? I've got a couple of scars on my arms. Oh, when did you go to last? No, it's only me and the kids. Once I'm not here, the kids had nobody here. Luckily, they're old enough and mature enough to take care of themselves for the night. And I came back home that night anyway. I'm just looking at my legs and I'm wondering if I should have even, if they should have let me come home, let alone made me. Considering they were talking to plastic surgeons in Launceston because nobody there knew what they were doing. The only thing they could do was to try and keep me comfortable with drugs and water. Hands full of pills after a handful of pills. I don't know what they were. But yeah, I was, the second they left, I was able to take up my argument and like, where's my bag? With a bloke that didn't speak English. Barely. He kept going back to the room that I just came from, looking for a duffel bag. I'm going, no mate, it's a black hiking backpack. And last I seen it was in an ambulance, and I asked them for my bag, and they kept telling me, the kids used their own brain to pack, and then I had to make them open the door to get my bag off my son of the ambulance, like, because he was standing at the door and I wasn't going to open the door to him. I said, open that fucking door and get my shit. Because otherwise, how do I get home? I'm drenched wet. I've just burnt the shit out of myself and I've gone straight to the shower. I've got drenched clothes. How do I get home? How do I get home without my wallet? Like, I can't get a taxi. Whether I was coming home that night or the next day is not the point. If I have to fill out paperwork, I can't read it without my glasses. Basic things that I needed. They didn't want me to give those instructions. What are they? Sadomasochists? I don't know. But anyway, like I said, nothing but horror stories with that hospital. But those two nurses, get out of there. That place is going to wreck you. Use it good, really. They're way too good for that facility, for that institution. I can't remember your names. I had a bit going on. But I will say thank you so much. Thanks, girls. I wouldn't have coped with that without you. I mean, here you go. I was in that much pain. I was going on the nod and then pinging back out of it. Takes a lot for me to pass out, but I was passing out from pain. And without those two girls, I'd have been fucked. Yeah, I would, if I had that packy that didn't speak English, whatever he was, I'd have hit him that fucking hard. He would have spun around twice before he hit the floor. Because it was just frustrating. When you're in excruciating pain, shaking to the point your legs are contorted, and you're just holding yourself off the bed for hours. You don't want to be trying to converse with somebody who doesn't have a clue what you're saying. That's not healthcare. That's torture. So that's a bit to mull on. Anyway, yeah. The health system's not a health system. It's not a health service anyway. That's for sure. It's an institution. The police service is not a police service. It's a legislature institution. And a drug addict is not a criminal. The criminals are the people supplying it. Even the low-level dealers. Think what you like. Some of them are criminals. Some of them just stick to their own circle of people, and they have a good supplier. Well, no, they don't have a good supplier, but they have a supplier. And they're not really doing any harm to anybody. They're keeping it to themselves in their own homes. But you all think that they're the problem? They're a symptom of the problem. They're a symptom of society that's gone fucking sideways and sour. They're a symptom of a community that keeps kicking them in the guts every time they try to get up. The homelessness. That's not fucking by accident. It's created. It's manufactured. Drug addiction. It's manufactured by other people. Alcoholism. It's allowed. It's legal. It's illegal to be a fucking deadbeat dad on the piss, beating your missus and kids all the time. It's perfectly legal. Yeah, you'll wreck your home. You'll lose your kids. You'll lose your family. What do you think the goal is? Because a father that loves his family, in a family that's functional, is a dangerous man. There's nothing that man will not do for his family. But that drunk who hates his ex-wife and fucking his kids don't talk to him, he's easily manipulated. It's controllable. Easy. Just got to wave little fucking brown paper bags in front of them. Or a pair of teddies. Because they're demoralised. When you know the outcome, the pathway, the multiple pathways all heading to the same place, they're bleeding obvious.